Willow and I are sitting here, it's like 12:30 a.m. and we're laughing because she's saying something about audible as the word tree in Spanish, audible, but I kept thinking she was saying audible. As in like something's not audible, like you can't hear, but it sounds like audible. You say it.
Audible is the name of a tree.
Audible, okay.
Audible is you hear things.
That sounds exactly the same to me. What do you guys think? Comment below. Audible tree or audible?
Like audible.
An audible tree.
You have to put the Spanish in it. Audible.
Audible.
Then audible.
It sounds the same to me when she says it. I don't know. Or even when I say it, it sounds the same, so I think it's funny. I was watching Katie Ledecky the other day on the Olympics. It was the 800-meter race. Did you guys see that? My gosh, she just blew everybody else away. It was amazing. I was just totally impressed with that. I look at Olympians and I know that a lot of it is genetics. The strength in their body, the body type for a certain sport. In addition to that, it's the years and years of dedication these people put into something they're passionate about, that they need to do every day. And that reminded me of my days of being a competitive dance figure skater, roller skater. I was also a swimmer, but I didn't do that for competitions or meets. I did teach babies how to swim at the YMCA when I was a teenager. It was actually volunteer, so it wasn't like a job, but I really enjoyed it. And I remember I used to spend hours practicing my roller skating, and I practiced my violin for hours, and then the swimming, but I spread myself kind of thin, but I enjoyed it all. I gotta tell you this story. By the time we were at a state competition in Cincinnati, Ohio, we were staying at a hotel. And I remember this is state competition, so they're like, don't do anything to hurt yourself before the competition. There was a tennis court at the hotel, and they said, don't play tennis, don't be doing anything dangerous to hurt yourself. So, as a good kid as I was, I walked to the tennis court. I was going to sit and watch other people play tennis. Well, as I was walking up the steps to where there were seats, the deck, it was a wood deck, had splinters coming up, and I was wearing sandals. Well, sure enough, the splinter goes right into my foot, like a big splinter. It was just, I couldn't believe it. When it happened, I was just like, no way. I was like so careful. I'm a careful person. I was like extra careful. I wasn't going to do anything. I did no running. No, I was just very careful. I literally walked up those stairs, took like 1 or 2 steps, and that splinter got into my foot. Then I'm thinking I shouldn't have worn sandals. I mean, how careful can you be? So I ended up in the hospital, the emergency room, because it was so big, the splinter, and so deep into my foot. And it was right at the ball, and I was doing figures the next morning. If you don't know what that is, those are those circles that you see at the roller skating rink or ice skating rink, and you follow the line, and you put a lot of pressure on your foot, especially the ball of your foot when you do turns. And I remember they gave me a shot, and it's supposed to be strong enough to not feel anything, but I think it wore off because it was the next morning, hours later. That was one of the most painful things. It was horrible. And I had to skate that morning. I don't know how I did it, but I was able to get through the little routine of the figures. Didn't do so well. It was just like, the pressure where that pain was, it was just bad. But that's not the story I want to tell you. While we were at the hotel, and now keep in mind, I was a teenager in the 80s. I didn't have a radio. I think I ended up with a Walkman after this time. So I was about 14 or 15 years old. I didn't have a radio, so I didn't really keep up with who's who. All I knew was like Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, and Beatles, you know, things that my older brothers would listen to on their records and their record players. So here I am in this hotel, and I come down the elevator with these two guys. I didn't know who they were. And I came off the elevator. I remember we stood there in the lobby. They asked me something. I don't even remember what it was, but I didn't think nothing of it. These two guys asked me some questions, and I saw my brother. I was looking out the lobby door, the front door, and I saw this black limousine out there, and my brother, who's younger than me, about 3 years younger, and my dad, and standing talking to this tall guy dressed real nice, and I saw them getting a signature. I'm like, oh, that guy must be famous or something. You know, I don't know who's famous, or, you know, it's remember back then we had TV with antenna ears, or one of those furniture TVs when you get channel 3, 5, 8. We didn't have cable, and we didn't, at least our household didn't. We didn't have cable or music channels or any of that, so I didn't know what was going on as far as entertainment in the world. So I'm thinking, okay, my brother and my dad are getting a signature from some famous guy. That all happened all at once, and all of a sudden I hear a bunch of girls like running from the elevator and the stairwell, and they were just coming out of the woodwork, and the two guys were leaving, and the girls were going after them, and I'm thinking, who are these guys, and why are the girls chasing after them? You know, I didn't get it. I was very naive and just didn't understand it. And I thought, well, maybe they're going after that guy next to the limousine, the guy where my brother was getting the autograph. Well, it turns out I was talking to Hall Oates. Do you know who Hall Oates? If you don't know who they are, you could do a Google search, but they were popular in my day. The only reason I knew who they were was I asked one of the people in the lobby. I said, well, who are they? And they're like, Hall Oates. And I'm like, who's Hall Oates? Once I heard the music, later on, I asked somebody, and they played the music for me, and I was like, oh, I've heard that before. Probably in the car or somewhere. Maybe at the skating rink I probably heard them. That's probably the only time I heard a lot of the more modern music that was going on, was at the skating rink during sessions. The signature my brother got was from Hall Oates' Schafer. His name was Red. So Red, or Hall Oates, if you see this, hello. You probably don't remember me. It was in a hotel in Cincinnati, Ohio. I'd have to look up the year. It was like maybe November. It was a concert you did in Cincinnati. That's the kind of person I am. I just don't know when I see a famous person, when they're right in front of me and I'm talking to them. They can come to my front door, somebody famous, and I wouldn't know it. I feel like I'm behind the times, even from an early age. Can't keep up with who's who. So my brother thought he was getting a signature from somebody famous, and he was the chauffeur. Even though he must have been a famous chauffeur, because he had his red pen, and he must get people requesting signatures from him because he had a red pen and it was signed Red. So that was kind of cool. I'm wondering if my brother still has it. I'll have to ask him. That's my story for the day. And the other short story I'll tell you, and I don't remember a lot of it. All I remember is, again, I didn't know who this person was, and he was very famous. I was in Spain. Rick and I were taking our honeymoon after 5 years of marriage. We met my brother, another brother in Madrid, and we took a train to go into Madrid for that night, because we were only staying one night at Hotel Diana. I don't know if it's still called that. It's near the airport in Madrid. We went on a train in Madrid, and there was this guy there, and he was asking us if we knew where something was. My brother talked to him more than anything. I had no idea who he was, and then when he got off the train, my brother told me that was Pelé. I'm like, well, who's Pelé? And he was a famous Brazilian soccer player. And of course in Spain, everybody knows who Pelé was. And of course around the world, if you're a soccer player, you know who Pelé is. But I didn't know, and again, I'm like, well, I missed out on, enjoying seeing somebody maybe who's famous. I just didn't know. So Pelé, hello. I don't know if you remember us, my husband and me and my older brother. I'm sure you don't remember. I always said I wouldn't mind being rich, but I don't want to be famous. I bet these famous people are sometimes happy when they're not recognized, so they could just live their lives without people chasing them around. I wouldn't know about that. Yeah, I don't think I would like that. I don't think I would like people chasing me around. The kids tell me I have nothing to worry about. No one's going to be chasing. All I have for today. Thanks for watching. Thumbs up if you like, and we'll see you next time.